All right. And with that, oh, that's of course the thing I gotta do. Aha. There we go. Now we actually have solid visual. Right? No? Maybe? You know, you'd think I'd actually have all this stuff set up beforehand, but no, I'm actually really bad. I'm actually a pretty terrible YouTuber. So, Growl, come here. We got some chatting to do today. Hope everybody is ready for an interesting conversation in the beginning. But we need to begin with getting this girl over here. Crowley girl. Crowley! Do you not? You don't want to be over here, do you? She's busy chewing on something. I'll get her over here in a minute. I was going to turn it into a Growlithe stream from the very get-go. But I guess we'll have to do that here in a bit. Faster Than You says, why must stream when I'm in class? I am sorry. I didn't know you were in class. Then again, also, I'm also an asshole, so I don't know exactly how far I would have taken that. Growly. Hey. Come here. Come here. Come on. Let's get you up here so everybody can see how much you've grown. Ah! Hey. So, for those who don't know, this is Growlithe. And I figured we'd go ahead and start out with this little bean. She does not like being held like this. She's not a big fan. But, hello, Growlithe. Go ahead and hop down. Good girl. Alright. So, that all said, that is Growlithe. She is here. She is here to say hello to everybody. Now, we need to get into a conversation. All of us do. And it's an interesting conversation that's been taking place on the Twitterverse for a little bit. Okay? Are we ready to have a chat? Are we ready to have a conversation with you guys, me, and potentially some negative opinions on some things? Is that a thing we are all ready to do? Okay, cool. Now, I don't want to put this particular YouTuber on blast, because they've not done anything that I think requires being put on blast, with one exception recently. And hello, Streamlabs. Why are you farking up? The other thing I need to do is figure out why certain things are not working on my end. So once we figure out why things are not working on my end at the moment, Nightbot should be functioning. But it's not. Yeah? Is that how you feel? Growlithe isn't happy about this either. Apparently. Nightbot appears to be working perfectly fine on Twitch, which is not what I want it to be doing. I'd like it to be working on YouTube. That would be preferable. But, anywho. Let's get into the conversation real quick. Now, there has been a conversation happening recently in the Twitter sphere, YouTube area thing, where a need has been requested. But it's not a need requested by most fans. It's been a need requested by a YouTuber who will remain unnamed for the time being, unless somebody would like to name them. They might know this person immediately. But the need has been requested to see the financial records of any YouTubers on the platform, for patrons specifically, before they patronize. Not patronize, but before they engage in patronage. And I can understand one side of this argument. I can. The side of the argument that says that, hey, if you're going to be investing money into this person, then you might as well know where that money is going. Let me also fix the mic a little bit so that mayhap mic, not new mic, new cord. Anywho, so I see she has decided it is time to exit. She knows how to open the doors now. That's good to know. That's excellent. I can't wait to see what the possible other ramifications of that are. Okay. And with that, go and get that closed. All right. She's going to be loud for everybody else now. So, here is my first take on this. I recognize that people may want to see financials, and most of the people who have been on my stream know that I've been very open about the amount of money that I make. Spoiler alert, not a lot. Here recently it's been a little higher because there have been a few people who have donated via Super Chat that have gotten the YouTube revenue up a little bit more. But again, I've been fairly open about the money that I make, but it doesn't matter to me. Transparency is fine with me usually. There may come a time where it's not, but that's just me. So, I can understand. Also, thank you very much for the $4.99, Brian. Hey, I like how this is a learning experience that I feel a little less lonely in far right and very religious Midwest. Thanks. Awesome. So, I can understand the one side of this, where you may say that people should know the financials of any person that they're going to give money to. And I understand that. I do. I get that side of the argument. Again, it's one of the reasons why I've been open about the financials on my channel. This is fine. However, if we take a look at a particular phrasing of this argument, and I want to find it real quick so that I don't strawman. So let me find it real quick. And then I will be able to accurately voice my griping. You know what? We'll just do a Twitter advanced search so that I can find the tweet in particular. Because I don't want to... let's see. I don't want to respond based on my recollection of an account. I'd prefer to respond based on the actual words that were spoken. All right. Really? Is that not showing up in... Ooh, sorry. Is that not showing up in search? I also recognize that if I bitch about this on Twitter, they'll know immediately. I think I bitched about it on Twitter before. But this person would know immediately, considering that I've actually responded. And this person follows me. Okay, Twitter. Twitter advanced search. Please help me find the thing I'm looking for so that I may bitch about it properly. All right, cool. I found it. I found the tweet in question. Again, I don't want to actually voice who this person is. If you guys know, then you'll already know immediately who I'm talking about. But if not, then that's on you. Okay, so the tweet in question, Jack Fisher says, Streamlabs or PayPal to maximize what you receive. So PayPal for the maximum amount, Streamlabs takes like 1 or 2%. But I'd prefer going over Streamlabs right now because Streamlabs will do an accurate tally of everything that's going into there. So to make sure that that tally is accurate, then please do it via the Streamlabs link itself. I also need to figure out why Nightbot isn't working. If anybody here is familiar with Nightbot and can potentially help me figure out why my Nightbot is not functioning, then that would be excellent. Let's see. Let's see if I fucked up. Got it up. There we go. Maybe Nightbot will work now. Aha! There we go. Thank you, Nightbot. Thank you for actually popping up and working. All right. Now, the tweeting question is, damn, I knew I was a dirty commie, but I just learned that I am to the left of Breadtube. I actually think it's immoral to become rich in a society with so much wealth and equality, but seems like most of Breadtube disagrees. Interesting. All right. So, let's go ahead and take a sip. And let's go over why this is a dumb take. Okay? There is no prerequisite for being to the left of the political spectrum. And if you are on YouTube doing that, then I guess that would make you part of Breadtube. But Breadtube is something that generally other people decide if you are or are not. There are people that think I'm Breadtube. There are people who don't think I'm Breadtube. There are other Breadtubers who think that I'm Breadtube. And then there are other Breadtubers who other people don't think are Breadtubers who think that I'm Breadtube. So it's a weird thing. What is Breadtube? So if you're familiar with socialist literature like The Conquest of Bread, the language Breadtube came from taking that literature. So if you're really far on the left of the political spectrum, like me, I'm a socialist, then you take literature from that, The Conquest of Bread, and apply that to the name, and now it's Breadtube. So left tube, Breadtube. It's really loose. It's a lot like saying atheist community when there's 1,000 different fractures of it. Skeptic community when there's people like me and Mr. Atheist and GMS on one side of things, and then there's people that are on the other side of things. So it's a loose term that a lot of people use for one person or another. Admitted it's Cult of Dusty. Yes, it is Dusty. Okay, so you know what? We'll just go ahead and do our bitching here. And if Dusty tunes in and decides that he wants to respond to me on this, then that's fine. I'm fine having this discussion with him because I don't personally have any issues with Dusty that I could not air live in a video. It wouldn't be the first time me and Dusty have chatted live. We've chatted on Atheist Edge before. So if that's the case, then let's go ahead and put things on screen. People seem to already know who it is. So allow me a moment to give myself a window capture. Not here, though. We'll have to go over here. And then open up a new window capture so that we can throw this here. Again, everybody seems to already know what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and cut that down and get that extended a bit. All right. Now, bear in mind, I'm going to be responding to this as somebody who doesn't make a whole lot off YouTube, and I wish I made more, realistically. Okay, so Dusty, he was a godlike YouTube channel when I first became an atheist. And I'm not saying his channel has gone downhill or anything. This is just one take. This is one particular take that I am going to deal with. Wait, people saying horrible things about me in Dusty's chat? That's interesting. If you could send me what that... So, I'm curious as to the things that were said, but you don't have to send me anything, because realistically, I can kind of think... I kind of think I know some of the things that were probably said about me, let's be honest. Alright. So, the tweet, like I said, says, damn, I knew that I was a dirty commie, but I just learned that I am to the left of Breadtube. Okay. I think it's immoral to become rich in a society with so much wealth and equality, but it seems like most of Breadtube disagrees. Interesting. Okay. So let's begin with one of the reasons why this is dumb. Bear in mind that later, Dusty also disclosed their financials and has started this whole kind of spiel where he thinks that everybody should disclose their financials online. And again, I've disclosed my financials online, so if you're new tuning in and you're going, oh, well, why are you talking about this? Or do you have something to hide? No, my Patreon's public knowledge, my YouTube revenue. I'm apparently not supposed to show it. I just got told that recently, mainly because YouTube had something in their TOS that I was unaware about disclosing your financials that you make over AdSense. I was not aware of that, but now I know. Regardless, before this point, I've shown my financials. Said I screenshot them, only share with Leah podcast crew, not public, never will. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to show it to me. I can imagine most of the things that were said about me. So, one of the reasons why this whole take is weird is, let's say, for instance, just as a hypothetical, let's say that somebody builds a YouTube channel tomorrow. They make 2 or 3 videos, and those videos get snatched by the algorithm. And then they're able to actually get their... For those who don't know, with YouTube, you have to actually earn 240,000 minutes of watch time, and you have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to get monetized. Okay? Also, Jack the Good Boy donated $100. Whew! The provider hears your prayer. Pizza for everyone. Thank you very much for the pizza donation, Jack. Thank you. That is awesome. All right. This is why he has the name Jack the Good Boy. He put it up as himself. It's also why you've had the name like Jack the Pizza Provider in the server for a while. So, let's say that this person, within a couple months of being on YouTube, starts earning enough money where they are able to now purchase their first home. They are now able to purchase their first car. They're able to do things that they have not been able to do before. Apparently, that mere circumstance becomes immoral, right? And I don't agree with that stance. I don't think that that's a fair thing to say. Now, granted, he does clarify, my position is that earning much more money than you need to live on, instead of insisting that money go to those in society that don't have enough to live on, exacerbates wealth inequality and class disparity, regardless of how the person made their money. All right. So, let's take a look at ContraPoints as an example. Probably the biggest single channel in LeftTube that is their own channel. Right? Let's see here. So the channel ContraPoints itself is only worth about $274,000. That is not rich. That's upper middle class. That is 2 people who've been working about 20 years at a firm together, and they bought a house together, and they're both making their 6 figures, but just a little over their 6 figures. And granted, that's before taxes or anything else are taken out. That's before any money that is spent on the sets is taken out. So, a channel like that would be considered immoral. Elsewise, Dusty's attacking a straw man that doesn't exist. Also, there's no 20 years of income in a couple years. Let's see. So, either there is a lefty YouTuber making a lot more money that I'm not really aware of, or elsewise, there is some issue that Dusty's tackling that I'm completely to the left or right of, and I don't know. Either there's a straw man being attacked, or there is something that I actually don't know about being attacked here. Now, one of the things that has been pointed out is that you can show your financials if you want. So if we look at another lefty YouTuber, and Kiana, if you want to make fan art and DM it, then that is perfectly fine. I have no problem with DM'd fan art. Now, let's take a look at another thing within this little sphere of problems. And it is from another YouTuber named Sean, but I am trying to find the tweet in particular so that I'm representing this as accurately as possible. Because if I don't, then that's a problem. But I don't know where it is. So until I can find the tweet about Sean's financials, because they did do a tweet about that, unless somebody can find it and send it to me. Like, if you can find and send me the tweet from Sean, then I can address it then, but I'm not going to spend the entire time trying to go over this. So basically what's happening here is you have a YouTuber who wants to police how much other YouTubers can make on a platform where you get taxed double, generally speaking. Like, for instance, for me, I'm at a 12% tax bracket, but I'll still end up paying 24 because, at least where I live, if memory serves, there's a self-employment tax. We have a 1099 miscellaneous form we get from YouTube, or Google, really, and that means that you have to pay more than just your singular tax. Like, I'm going to owe on taxes this year, more than likely, and it'll be the first time I've ever owed on taxes in my life, because I've always been poor. So, that makes that part problematic. This year's going to suck. That's what that really comes down to. So, when you, as a creator, try to tell another creator how much they're allowed to make on the platform, you put yourself in this really awkward spot where you get to dictate what they can spend their money on. And when the counter to this, because I've seen some people respond with, and actually, KC, I see you're in the chat. I think I sent you Sean's tweet in a DM. If you are able to find that, or if you can find it faster than me, then that might actually help as well. But anywho, so when you start saying that you can dictate how much another person can make past a certain point, like if we're talking about a billionaire, like if there's somebody who's made $1 billion off of YouTube, then yeah, we've obviously hit that point where maybe you having this much accumulated wealth, it needs to start being dispersed elsewhere, right? That's a thing that you need to send where you can, because that's a lot. Thing is, YouTubers don't make that much. Even the biggest, or one of the biggest, YouTubers on the entire platform, PewDiePie, right? PewDiePie, the biggest person on the platform, right? Take a guess at what his net worth is. What is Pew's net worth? PewDiePie's net worth is $20 million. Now, that's a lot. That's certainly enough for one person to live off of for the rest of their life without having to work anymore at all, should they choose that route. Perfectly fine and acceptable. But $20 million? And bear in mind, net worth is not income, right? Net worth includes more than just your income. It's also like your liquidatable assets, stuff like that. And no, PewDiePie doesn't advocate for anything on the left as far as I'm aware, except maybe like a little social progressiveness. But my point isn't about what PewDiePie does or doesn't advocate for. My point is to talk about the fact that PewDiePie, as a YouTuber, as one of the largest, or as the largest single YouTuber on the platform, still only has a net worth of $20 million. That is still nowhere near the actual amount of money that we see as problematic. This isn't like Koch brother money. This isn't like the freaking Wilkes brothers who fund PragerU type of money. This isn't even I think Dennis Prager's less than that. I think Dennis Prager actually has less than that. Yeah, no, he's half that. Dennis Prager has a net worth of $10 million. Okay. So it is more than Dennis Prager money, but it is not more than the people who actually fund and enable Dennis Prager money. It is not immoral to amass a certain amount of wealth. But where do we actually draw that line? Obviously, there's a reductio where we hit the billion point. I don't think we should have billionaires, personally. I think that if you start earning that much money is gone from somebody else, and if you have to pump that money back into the economy after it's been hoarded, then you create problems of inflation, but the actual value of the money doesn't go up. It continues to go down. YouTubers and small creators do not make the kinds of money that should cause this problem. So, again, either there is a straw man being attacked, or there is a YouTuber that I'm unaware of here. Also, here's another tweet in this little vein that causes me some trouble. Dusty Smith, just my opinion, but I think that studies that show $75,000 and $90,000 a year is plenty to live a comfortable, happy life. Anything over that is superfluous and should be discouraged, especially from a crowd trying to combat wealth inequality and class problems. Okay. Let's see here. Casey has... Thank you. That is the tweet that I was talking about. All right. So before I go into that tweet, thank you for that, Casey. We're going to look at this right now. So Dusty is showing, I think, the studies that show that this is the amount a year to live a comfortable, happy life. That's fair, but this is not taking into account, for instance, people who might have a disabled son or daughter who they need to actually have an extra amount of money to be able to support. Let's say that this is a high-functioning person but is just disabled, and for their mental health, they need to live in a separate area, a separate house, maybe even in a separate city, and you have to fund them now. Now, there's about $20,000 or $30,000 a year that are being funded to another person that are still coming from you. While studies like this are useful for showing about where you should strive without without trying to be like Koch brother number 2 Electric Boogaloo, I don't think they're terribly useful when trying to talk about arguments like this. Because, for instance, if you were to tell me, hey, you should be comfortable off of $30,000 a year, I'd say, yeah, I would be comfortable with $30,000 a year. That's already like freaking $12,000 a year more than I make right now. Hell, it's about $15,000 a year more than I make right now. That's double what I make. I would be comfortable with that. But if I moved into the inner city, like if something happened here and I had to move into the inner city, I would no longer be comfortable with that amount. That amount would no longer be enough to sustain me down there. It seems like when you do things like attack other content creators for the amount of money that they are or are not making on their channel, you create this strange world where you get to be the morality police on how much money this content creator is making. And that's not really... It's not fair, and it's not cool. And if you're going to try to tackle it from a position like collectivism, which seems to be what Dusty's position is, it's a left position, it's a collectivist position, he's called himself a dirty commie and stuff like this. If you're going to take that side of the argument, then tearing other people in your movement down for success, for succeeding, for being able to live, that's not cool. And I'd argue that if your point is to say that these people are contributing to the problem because they're making enough money to where they are actively causing a wealth disparity, then my response would be, by you tearing down these other creators, you are also creating a wealth disparity. Now, bear in mind, for my part, if I can virtue signal for like a quick second, I do have a rule on my Patreon. And anybody who has visited my Patreon will notice that 20% of the money on my Patreon goes into other people. It goes into, and some of them are in the chat right now, Turning Tide Studio, a portion of my Patreon goes into her work. Because I have a 20% rule. When my Patreon hits a certain amount, I reevaluate the expenses in it, and I take 20% of what I make on Patreon, and I funnel that into other content creators. But that's my personal rule. I don't tell anybody that they need to live by that rule. I don't. Because it's mine. I put it on myself. I think that's the moral thing for me to do. But it's not the thing that everybody has to do. And not everybody's in a situation where they can do it. Hell, I still technically get punished for doing it. Because even though that money does go back in, on the flip side, we still barely get by on bills. But again, it's my rule. It's my rule that I set for myself. I send it into other creators who do and don't need it. Sometimes it's just people whose work I want to support. Sometimes it's people who I think honestly need the extra funding. There's smaller channels like Elijah Davalos. If you guys have not seen Elijah Davalos' channel, this dude has been doing videos for ages. I want to say that his channel's just as old as mine, but he's not been able to see any growth. So hold on, let me go ahead and bring up the person's channel to show you. This is one of the content creators who I support. Granted, I support larger content creators too. I have money that goes into Logic, for example. But let's take a look at Elijah Davalos. This channel has been around about as long as mine. I've done a collaboration with this guy. Do you think with 872 subscribers he can do it on his own? No. Nobody can. I mean, hell, if you're in the chat right now and you haven't subscribed to Elijah or even knew that his channel existed, then I'm going to drop the link here. Go give him a subscription. Go check out his stuff. Like, he's young. He's not new to making videos, but he's certainly young, and a lot of his opinions are ones that you would get when you are new to some of these topics. But he's a smart guy, and he's very earnest about his content. He's very honest about it. He is one of the content creators who I support on Patreon. I think other people should as well. But, again, I'm not going to set that down as anybody's moral imperative, because that's not fair to them. KC managed to find the link that I was looking for. Sean, another very large lefty content creator, says in here that I can only speak for myself, but the reason that I have Patreon revenue private is because of people who do not know the difference between revenue and income. All right. Now, speaking of that, Growlithe is having a fun time out there. We're trying to work out Growlithe's separation anxiety, but she can hear me from outside, so she's not very happy about that. Chris Brooks, I'm twice the size of you white boys, and nobody cares. Bigger girth, smaller dick. You'll be fine. Alright, so for those who don't know how Patreon works, let's do a quick thing for everybody to see. So this is my Patreon right now. Currently, it is sitting at $521 per creator. And this is one of the reasons why Sean probably has his stuff set to private. Because at face value, how many videos do I produce in a week? Usually between 3 and 5, right? So you would assume then, if this says $521 per creation, that the real income... In fact, actually, we can open up a calculator real quick. So let's say there's 20 videos in a month, right? Between 3 to 4 uploads a week. 20 times 521. This is the revenue you would be expecting every month, right? $10,420. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens. And here's the reasons why. So with Patreon, realistically, what you will receive is less than 1/10 of that. For me personally, one of the reasons for that is that I only charge once a week. But on my Patreon page, immediately, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that I only charge once a week, so you get 4 charges in a month. My Patreon does not show that. But if somebody wanted to make a hit piece on me, they could look at this, they could put the two together, and say, hey, this person makes, what, $120,000 a year. They could do that. They could make that case. It would be wrong. And here's why it's wrong. So let's see if the math works out now. So 521 times 4, right, for the 4 charges that I give. Should be 2,084. Okay? This is the number that we should be expecting on Patreon, right? $2,084 a month? Except no, that's not what happens either. To give you an example of what those numbers will actually look like, here. Earnings. Let's take a look at the actual Patreon earnings. Because I am allowed to show these ones, right? How much should we be seeing there? Anybody take a guess? Because there's this thing called donation capping you can do, where some people can only donate once in the month. So they have it capped at one charge a month. Some people can only date twice a month. They have it capped. Some people can donate. Some people have liquid income coming out the butt, and they can have their donations go as many times as they need. So a number like 2,084, when we actually look at Patreon income afterwards, and bear in mind, mine's gone up. It used to be as early as September, it was only like $600. But here, a little over $1,000. That's what it looks like. Right? That's what the actual thing. That's what that actual thing looks like. And as such, I've got about $200 that pop out to other patrons. I need to actually increase that amount now because I've earned a little bit more. So this has just reminded me I need to reevaluate my finances and put more money in other content creators again. But wait a minute. Our math said $2,000. That's what the content creator should be making. Except it's only about $1,000. Realistically. After you take in people's subscription caps, after you take in the fact that I have a certain amount that goes out on Patreon to other content creators, I only get half of that, which was less than a tenth of our initial estimate. So if somebody wanted to make a hit piece on me, like I said, they could pull these numbers and go, Cirrus makes $120,000 a year. That's ludicrous. You're making, if we use Dusty's numbers, right? He's making much more than the $75,000 and $90,000 a year he needs to be happy. He needs to drop his patronage down. People need to drop their patronage down to where he gets $300 a creation. And now he'll be making closer to that $75,000. Except I'm not even making I'm making like a seventh of that base number for happiness. And this is not me saying like subscribe to Patreon. This is me trying to articulate the problem with this argument. The problem with this policing of finances that happens to an individual small content creator. Because you can, if you do not know how Patreon works, I just showed you how you can run a narrative. You can run a huge narrative just bashing somebody for making too much money easily by just doing the math wrong. That's all you have to do, is do the math wrong. And suddenly you can create a whole narrative about a content creator. Now, this luckily has not happened to me. Well, I say that. I have been told that I'm making all kinds of money because I've won a popularity contest of some kind. And that was said by another content creator who used to be a good friend of mine, who I'm not going to name because I'd like to bury that hatchet as far down into a well as possible. So, aside from the one time, I haven't really had this levied at me, but when I see an argument like this, these are the ways in which somebody can construct a narrative there. And Dusty pointed out that he disclosed his financials, that he makes like, what, $700 a month off of YouTube, which is not counting Patreon donations and other stuff like that, obviously. But point is, to say that somebody needs to disclose their financials is to fudge the math. Now, we've only talked about the actual income amount. The actual income. But this isn't counting the fact that money is going to go out for taxes. Now that number's lower. Now that number's more like 800, truthfully speaking, because of the 12% double bracket. The number's more like 800. God, taxes this year are going to suck. We've been doing paycheck to paycheck, so we actually don't have months for taxes ready. So this is going to blow dick. This is going to actually suck. Anyway, that's a problem for another day. I'm not dealing with that right now. What I'm dealing with right now is the argument. So, let's move over to Sean. Callan says, I think talking about and disclosing financials is a way to build solidarity and show how YouTube is screwing people over, but this is being used in the opposite way. This is fair. You can disclose financials to show how YouTube is screwing over content creators. For instance, granted, my financials are a little screwy right now because we've gotten some high super chat donations, but based solely on revenue coming in from advertising, I've only got like 400 or 500 in the month. And a lot of that comes down to demonetization getting hit a lot. That number's closer to 900 right now, thanks to Super Chat donos. But again, that's what those base amounts are there. So, let's think about the things that could potentially screw over you in financials as well. On top of all of this, if you wanted to make a hit piece about a content creator, let's say that this content creator has to go to, I don't know, let's throw one out, the Faithless Forum. For those of you who don't know, the Faithless Forum is a awesome convention that happens in Texas, usually May and April. The first time I went there as a fan. The second time I went there as a speaker. So we're talking about a place like Faithless Forum. How much money does it actually take to go there if you're a speaker? And if you are a speaker, it behooves you to go. Like, let's be fair. My channel would not have gotten off the ground had I not gone there and met Godless Engineer, Caitlin Chloe, had I not met Telltale Atheist, had I not met in person Prophet Azad, who I'd already met previously, had I not met Genetically Modified Skeptic. Had I not met those people, Holy Kool-Aid as well, who actually sat down and helped me learn how to do marketing stuff for a channel. Had I not gone to that first conference before my channel was making any money at all, then my channel wouldn't have gotten off the ground. It would not have functioned and become my full-time gig without the help of everybody who was there at the forum. Both times that I've gone. I mean, I was 12,000 subs smaller than I was now when I went to the second forum. I was at 300 subs when I went to the first forum. Anywho, so you can see based on that growth, it behooves you to go to one of these things. If you're a YouTuber, it behooves you to go to a YouTuber convention with people who are in your sphere. Okay, so how much does it cost to go to one of these events? Well, if you're not a speaker and you're just trying to start out, it's about $50 for the VIP ticket. It's more for larger conventions. But we'll cut that one out. Let's pretend you're a speaker. Let's pretend you have to go. You have the trip, which for me ended up being a couple $1,000s, all things considered, because the trip itself was a few $100s in gas, more than a few $100s in food, and then because I don't have a good car, my car is crap, about a little over $1,000 in car repairs when I got back home. And it might not even, as an opportunity cost, it might not even give you a return on your investment. But it behooves you to go. You should. So there's another, just go ahead and call that $2,000, gone. Fizzled from your financials. They've been cut out. So if you're in my situation and you make about $15,000 a year, you've sliced that out. Now there's $13,000 left. You're making less than minimum wage now, based on just the revenue that's been cut out. And that's if you only go to one in the year, which when I went to Faithless Forum, I had to crowdfund going because I couldn't afford to go elsewise. It was impossible to. Alex Alexandrov in the chat has a very good point. The idea that leftists should give all their money to charity is a meme for the right. Lefty creators spend more hours on videos than normal jobs, and they make money. You're basically telling people who are working a job, these are not employers, these are not CEOs. These are your fellow workers. These are your fellow wage slaves. These are the people who are with you on the ground level. If you want to start a fucking revolution, these are the people with the pitchforks next to you. And you're telling them that, hey, you earned enough to go to a fancy restaurant yesterday. You deserve to be lambasted. You deserve to die. Now, this is ignoring the fact that some people, when they work on YouTube, on top of the cost of actually working their channel, there's a mental cost as well. And that's something you can't really calculate. Like, imagine if you're just a regular layperson, you've not prepared for any of this, and you've gotten... Let's say, as an example, you have gotten your first death threat. Somebody has told you they're going to come to your house, and they've put down the state you live in, and when they do so, Odd Pagan has donated $12.33. Thank you very much for the donation. That's a very odd number for the donation, but that's still an awesome donation. Thank you very much for that. Now let's say that you are a creator and you are receiving your first death threat. You don't know how to take it. This is new. The internet, yeah, people give death threats all the time. They're like, haha, I'll kill you in a video game. Sometimes it's a little more real than that. Sometimes the information that you get is a little closer to home. Sometimes people put your face on an effigy and fire a gun at it repeatedly. And I know that sounds weird. That somebody might put your face on an effigy and then start firing a gun at it repeatedly. And that might make you feel strange. There might be a bit of a mental health cost to that. And you don't know how to take that. Right? Well, let me show you something. And maybe this will help you understand some of the mental health costs that come in this. And this goes well and beyond just random people on the internet making fun of you. Because if somebody wants to come on the internet and make fun of me, that's fine. I don't care. You know, whatever. Somebody wants to bitch about me randomly, I honestly could care less. But sometimes you get something like this.
Watch this later.
Do what?
Watch this.
Let's see.
Therefore, this character, see the guy, he exists dogs with a kid. I'll put him up, or he exists as this fiction.
Let's see. Where did you put it? They may have taken it down. Wonder if they did. No, it might actually be in this blog. Sometimes you get something like this.
Watch this later.
Do what?
Watch this later.
You don't need to be watching that later. But look at this. Don't, child. I don't want you watching this. Look, he's got like a feminine version of him with boobs, and then up here in his whole room is filled with like kids' toys. And he's like, what if I say LGBTP for pedophile? You are a pedophile. You're trying to lure children with all this anime and cartoon stuff because you know.
Sometimes you get people like this who do shit like this.
Kids are gonna see that and go, oh look, let me watch that. What a disgusting pervert. Come here, Cujo. My German Shepherd, which is real, unlike the all the little children's decorations in the background of this loser here. He was mocking my Twitter. My Twitter was a real dog. Hey, what do you say about faggots? Ooh, faggots. I say about faggots. Yeah, that's right. Cujo would eat that dude. That dude could never even think about running our dog. Just look at the imagery on there. Tell me all the stuff that's wrong with that. That guy's thing, that's his live post he did with all his losers. Look at the guy's little web camera of his room. How old does that guy probably look to you? What do you think?
Oh, you're about
the guy in the top right. How old do you think that guy is? Just a guess. 30? That's what I'm guessing, about 30. I hope he's not over 30. Do you think he probably lives at home with his mom?
Bear in mind, also, I own my house, and I live on 2 acres of land. I don't live with my parents, but...
No, he doesn't.
No,
look in the background. I know. Oh, he's fat, so he could have a baby face. But look, that's all children's stuff, just like that Mark dude that we knew that turned out to be a pedophile. He was always into children's stuff. Look, he's got his imagery, and he's got like these animes of himself, and the ones you can't see it, but it's got boobs on him. Breasts with the shirt parted, and breasts like cleavage or something. It's really sick. That's nasty. Whatever value we assign to it at its origin.
He just told me. You're saying words.
Also, stop right there. Yeah, when people were...
He's just saying words. Look, I understand, and I don't want to make fun of your kid. I don't want to make fun of the guy's kid. But just because you've raised your child to be too dumb to understand the English language doesn't suddenly mean that the words that are being spoken don't actually have meaning. Anyway.
Using Bible for doctrine, and then the word has been changed and slanged, and people are misunderstanding the Bible. Yeah, we do need to go back to the origin. That's why I don't even open a dictionary to show someone what the word repent means, because the dictionaries added the slang as an extended definition way beyond what the root word means. You have to like dig down into the dictionaries. We'll tell you the origin if you search for it, and it has nothing to do with their main definitions in many cases that are just identifying the slang and proper use. So I have to open the Bible and use a bunch of key instances of a certain word to define that word properly, like the word repent. And when you go to the first use, Genesis 6:6, where it says God repented, you know, therefore, if God's repenting and God repents more than anybody, if you read an uncensored Bible, the word can't mean what that wrong dictionary or the wrong thing is saying of it means to turn from sin. Likewise, the word discriminate, you need to go to its root meaning, which I am demonstrating right here in my book, and it just means to recognize difference, no matter what. But the thing is, in our English,
I'm trying to find. There's a particular point.
It's a loser. They'll still believe him. So there's a good chance, and it's still this weird. That wasn't irrational fear when we saw him. He was just a disgusting pervert. Not a power wheels. What that? I'll put him up in the video. The dude.
Nope, and he doesn't actually do it in this one. Where did he put it? There was a video on his blog that he has apparently taken down. Well, that's saddening. Well, not saddening that it's been taken down. But anyway, you're going to have to just take my word for it, since apparently it's not on his blog anymore. But one of the things that he used to actually, or one of the things that he did on his blog, was he put an effigy of me in his yard and then took a gun and fired a gun at it repeatedly. He, like, printed out a picture of my face, put it on the effigy, and fired at it repeatedly. Now, what do you think that actually does to somebody's mental health? Now, what happens when you have this happening over the course of a year and a half and you're dealing with it constantly? What do you do in that situation? And I think I actually have the video of him firing the gun at the effigy on my channel somewhere. So, how do you take that? How are you supposed to respond to that? You might need a therapist. You might have to go get a psychiatrist. You might need to be put on medication. Bear in mind, here in the States, yeah, that's a pretty hefty cost. So, exactly how much money should a person be allowed to make when they are subject to mental abuse like this at all times? Can we put a cap on it? Can we put a number? Like, what's the actual financial amount we should allow a content creator to make while they are receiving constant mental abuse? I can't say. I don't think there's a way to actually quantify that. And because of that, it seems like arguments like Dusty's can't actually hold any water. Now, let's take a look at Sean. What Sean says. Sean says he can only speak for himself because the reason he has a Patreon revenue private is because people who do not know the difference between revenue and income. Okay. Now, I pointed out one of the problems before with trying to calculate income on Patreon. That's not something you can do very easily. You have to just look at the actual income amount later. It says, the amount you see on the site is not the income of the creator. Even my videos, which are light on production compared to those with sets and costumes, have production costs. For my video about transphobia, I paid 6 different people who helped me with it. For instance, I've paid for script editing, for art, sourcing papers, general admin, and other things. Some creators have regular assistants they work with. And for people who have sets and such, these costs are higher. Your income is what you have left after these costs. This is tiresome to explain to everyone who assumes you make a lot more than you actually do. Doubly so for those who are hostile about it. Hence, the privating. Not to mention service fees, currency conversions, and so on. Plus all the unpaid work you have to do to get to the point where you're even getting paid at all. For instance, for me, I did a year of YouTube without any income. Coming from YouTube, specifically. Because that's what you do. Anyways, revenue is not income. Creators make a lot less than you think. Now let's see some of the responses here. This one, specifically, got on my nerves. From Femboy Communist. Now let's also point out, I'm not saying this person is not a lefty. I have no way of knowing. But one of the things that was pointed out in ContraPoint's video was that it's impossible to tell between an actual lefty with an anime avatar on Twitter and a troll. A troll who's just trying to meme it. Because if you're going to have the standard, like, trans flag avatar, gay pride flag avatar, you know which one I'm talking about, where it's like the anime avatar sitting there with like a little flag in the very, like, pose. There's millions of them on Twitter. It's impossible to tell if any of these people are real, or if any of these people are bots, or if any of them are plants. There's no way to know. It says, if you're tired of speculation, then make your finances public like other creators have done. To which Sean responds, I'm not tired of speculation, I'm tired of the thing I said in the tweet. It's not the speculation that he has trouble with, it's the harassing. Then the person says, then add your expenses. Samuel then says that there's not any way currently for him to add expenses and display that would show up for Patreon to see. Now, there were some other responses on here, but apparently they're dug deep into random places. So, let's go ahead and point out one of the problems with this. Let's say I go to Zaxby's, right? But before I'll buy chicken at Zaxby's, I'm going to go send, or I'm going to go see CEO. I'm going to do it right here, actually. CEO of Zaxby's. Okay? So, Zach McLeroy is the CEO of Zaxby's. So before I go to my Zaxby's, I'm going to go look at his net worth. And I'm going to see that he is worth $1.7 billion. Or not, he's worth $1.7 billion, but the Zaxby's chain earns a revenue of $1.7 billion. And then, I'm an obsessive asshole. So I'm going to then stretch that to how many Zaxby's in the U.S.? 123 locations. So then I take 123 locations. We've got a billion. So we're going to go 1. That's 1,000. That's 1,000,000. That's 1 billion. We're going to take that billion. We're going to divide it by the 123 stores. We'll just call it 130. Fuck it. It's fine. And I'm going to go and say that each store made an average revenue of about 7 million. And then I'm going to go into that store, and when I go to get my $6 Zaxby's sandwich, I'm going to scream and yell at them and say, this store made $7 million. I did the math. I know what I'm talking about. I'm totally not an idiot. I did the math. I know how much money you guys make. You owe me a chicken sandwich. You should give me a chicken sandwich right now, because you guys made $7 million today. And I don't have $7 million, but you do, so give me a chicken sandwich. What happens here is you harass a content creator to the point where they feel like they have to disclose something that is not public. It's private info. At the end of the day, revenue is private info. It's not something that you have any business knowing. Now, if somebody has the goal of coalition building to let you know that, hey, you're poor, I'm poor too, we identify with that, and we want to go ahead and go, hey, look at you, we're gonna share our revenue together so that we can go to our boss and say, hey, we don't make as much money as Tim Joe over there who just got hired. Why is that? And you want to have that chat with your boss? Fine. That's fine. But the flip side is not okay. Showing your private information, if you so choose, that's your business. And if you want to do it, that's your business. I've shown my private revenue. Dusty showed their private revenue. Cool. That's our business. We get to do that. But to then, and I'm not saying Dusty has specifically said this, but people who are parodying his arguments have, to then extrapolate from that I showed you my financials, you owe me yours. No. Nuh-uh. That's not how it works. To give an example, it's like if I were a trauma victim, which there are some cases in which I am, but if I were a trauma victim in this argument, and I disclosed my trauma to you, and you are a trauma victim, and then I said, you have to open your deep, dark secrets to me. You have to now, because I told you. No, the fuck you don't. There's no part of the fact that I disclosed information to you that suddenly makes it to where you have to disclose information to me. Not a bit. Not a single bit. Your private information does not become public because of my actions. And if I try to force your private information to become public, now it's harassment. Now I'm engaging in a type of doxing. Now I'm engaging in internet harassment. That's what's happening there. That's what's happening now. The biggest lefty creators on the fucking platform do not make a problematic amount of income. The largest creator on the platform does not make the type of income that wealth inequality shows is actually a fucking issue here. If you want to actually fight the problem, go for the fucking problem. You want to try to create a society that has a socialist economy? More power to you. I would prefer that, personally. I'm not a capitalist. By all means, do so. But you don't do it by tearing down the content creators around you. You do it by building them up. It was hatcheted as it was set at Resident Evil because that's what I was doing last night. Sorry. Let me set it to just chatting. That was my bad, hatcheted. That's on me. Sorry about that. So again, Hannah Armstrong says this circles back to how rich conservatives get us to cannibalize each other. There's a good saying here. There's an incredibly good saying here. What Dusty's doing in this tweet and what people who are trying to rip Sean over are doing. It's very similar to, there's a billionaire, there's an immigrant, and there's a nation-born citizen all sitting at a table. There's 1,000 cookies. The billionaire steals all but 3 of the cookies. You get a cookie, or the national-born citizen gets a cookie. The immigrant gets a cookie, and there's 1 cookie left. And the billionaire, with his 997 cookies, looks at the national citizen and goes, "Be careful of that immigrant. I think they're going to take your cookie." It's the same fucking thing. It causes the immigrant to look at the national citizen and go, I'm not trying to attack you, but I am still really hungry and I do need that cookie. And then the citizen goes, no, I'm entitled to that cookie. I was here first. Why are you going after my cookie? And the billionaire gets to make off with 997 cookies. And probably get, like, insta-diabetes. Like, it happens instantaneously. That's what happens. When you do stupid shit like this, policing the other content creators in the same sphere as you, instead of accepting the fact that if any of them gain success, that's good. Because it's not saying, you're too successful, I have to tear you down. That's a stupid argument. The correct thing to do is to recognize that if that content creator becomes successful...
There's been a request.
What is the request?
A paid request. We are being paid for these services here. Aaron, nope.
Okay.
Camera can see you. So we're just gonna sit here. So,
Oh no. This is from Jack, isn't it?
It might be.
It's from Jack. I know it's from Jack.
Look, we're not gonna say if it is or not, except that this is a paid service. So from our family to yours. Can I just say something crazy?
Oh my god. The whole stream's demonetized now.
Serious words in my face. And suddenly I bump into you.
Ah.
I've been searching my whole life to find my own place. It's the party talking or the chocolate fondue, but with you.
Polyamory is not a gift, it's a curse.
I've never known before. Love is an open door. Love is an open door. Like you so much more with you, with you, with you, with you. Love is an open door.
You're choking me. Are you going into the second verse? Oh my fucking god, why?
That's what I was just gonna say, someone who thinks so much like me. Jinx! Jinx again! Mental synchronization could have but one explanation. That you were just meant to be. Say goodbye to the pain of the past. We don't have to feel it anymore. Love is an open door. Is an open door. Love is an open door. With you. Love is an open door.
I say something crazy? Will you marry me?
Can I say something even crazier? Yes!
I love all three of you, and I don't know if I regret that or not.
I do. Somehow. You may go back to your regularly scheduled service.
People wonder why I'm dead inside. Okay. So, that was a thing. Kadamas is regretting your life right now. It's true. It's true. Get memed on. That was really something. That's exactly what it was. Orlis is regularly scheduled. Do we know the same service? No, there is not a regular schedule. I wish I was good enough to do a regular schedule. Okay. Okay. Your door was open. They came in. The door is closed! It just wasn't locked. Oh my god. The door was not locked. That's the problem. I was about to make such a good point. Yeah, I was gonna try to, but you know, it didn't happen. Also don't know why Can't See is a mod. Okay, there we go. Cirrus needs donations for a new lock. Thank you. This is Cirrus and his Tenchi Muyo lifestyle. It is Tenchi Muyo that made me like. Tenchi Muyo was the first time I actually had experience with something like that. Okay. What point was I on? What yelling and screaming was I on? It says 2 out of 10 needs more. Emmett was there the entire time. She just wasn't wearing pants, so she didn't come into the actual like frame. Emmett was there. She just had pants. No pants. We all know Growlithe will somehow figure out how to unlock the door. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay. Start to GoFundMe for Cirrus to get locks. Oh, boy. Okay. That said, Harem Anime introduced you to polyamory, not that book the Western world lives by. No, I had a very whitewashed upbringing where Christianity was concerned because I grew up in PCA, and Pensacola Christian Academy uses the Abeka literature to teach all of their shit, and it's very whitewashed Christianity. None of it's very accurate. Okay. Anyway, that's been my rant on revenue. I think the point I was trying to make was that if you spend your time tearing other creators down and insisting that they play by the same set of arbitrary rules that you play by, all you do is you destroy your own movement. Now, if you do that because you need to farm content and you're trying to build up some drama, that's a little worse. But I'm not saying that anybody's trying to do that, because I can't tell anybody's intentions. I can't. So, I guess I will leave with this. If you are a content creator and there is another content creator who is in the same sphere as you and they are doing better than you, you do not try to tear them down unless there's an actual issue to be involved. As an example, are there things I disagree with Jimmy on, Mr. Atheist? Yeah, totally. There's things me and Eve have disagreed on for the past year and a half. But would I tear Jimmy down for being more successful than me? His channel's got over 200,000 subscribers, and he's got a lot more revenue than I do. Would I ever attack Jimmy for succeeding? No. Absolutely fucking not. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to ever do that. Attack arguments. Attack poor rationalizations. Attack praxis. Don't attack success. Somebody manages to succeed? Somebody manages to do well? Cool. Build them up. A rising tide manages to float all boats. But if you try to tear them down, instead of trying to elevate everybody up to the level that you want to get them to, all you succeed at is recognizing that everybody that you are trying to build up are not quite where they need to be, and because somebody got higher than that, you tore them down to that ground level again. That's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. Also, Chris Brooks in the chat, do you need a pacifier? I'm just curious. It seems like you don't have your binky. But that's just me. I see that Chris Brooks in the chat has been trying desperately. And you say your wife care I'm twice your size. Which one? There's 3. I could be a complete dick and say, does yours care that I have triple your partners? But I don't think that's accurate because your number seems to be 0, and I wouldn't want to brag because polyamory is not better than monogamy. Anywho, let's move on to the next thing, and if Chris continues, then I will gladly engage with them because I'm bored as hell. And I would absolutely love the excitement of Chris deciding that they were big enough to have a fight. Abby Fitz says, does somebody trying to brag about their penis? Probably. Little do they know, it's not an accomplishment having a bigger penis than mine. Mine's fucking microscopic. You can brag all you want, but you've managed to get, like, yay, your dick is twice my size. Cool, you're 2 inches large. That's, you know what? If that's what you need to brag about, excellent. That's good. That's cool. I wouldn't be bragging if mine were 2 inches. This is why I don't brag about my dick size. Brianna says, would it really be that entertaining, such low-hanging fruit? Oh, no, I'm not saying it'd be entertaining for you guys. I'm saying it'd be entertaining for me. DDLG Playground has very nice passies. You can get 10% off. Oh, that was perfect. You are right. Actually, you know what, Chris Brooks? I have a suggestion for you. If you're still in the chat. If you are. Okay? This is just me throwing something out there if it is a pacifier that you need. Because Miranda Lynn was good enough to point this out. If it is a pacifier that you need, it turns out that I actually do have an affiliate partner who sells those, amongst other things. If you'd like, you can even get 10% off. It's at ddlgplayground.com. But it only works if you use coupon code CIRRUS whenever you are picking up your stuff there. And I know that I have an image for that on here somewhere. I'm just not a good YouTuber, so my actual link for it is Where the fuck is my link? I have it here somewhere. Oh my god. Why is it not? I don't know where it is. Why is it not in here? Aha! There it is. There it is. There's the obligatory plug. Aha! Obligatory plug for a website that sells plugs. As long as you use coupon code CIRRUS, anything you get there is 10% off. Jack Fisher says, "Oh my god, I'm wasting money on songs when I could buy a dildo." All right. There, we've done it. We've managed it. Chris Brooks says, "I'm 4 times the size of the Inuits." Who cares? Like, are we talking about your penis? Are we talking about your chest? Are we talking about your, like, massive chin or your nose? Like, which of these are we talking about? I'm confused. Like, you're 4 times the size of an average thing. You know what? I'm also 4 times the size of an average man. You know how I've managed that? Being fat. That didn't suddenly make me proud of anything. That just made me fat. Like, I don't know what you're proud of. I don't get it. Like, I've got all these things, and it just makes me farked up. I'm confused. If this is just a bored troll, it's such low effort. This is true. If you're gonna be a troll, at least be somewhat original. I mean, actually, no, you are being original. Let me rephrase that. Be entertaining. You need to be both original and entertaining. Because if you're using original jokes, but the original jokes don't stick, that's bad. Alex says, earlier you were making depression jokes, but if your life is bad, exercise can help. I used to have a lot of emotional issues. Exercise helped a lot. Yeah, exercise is something that's been helping me a little bit. And the only reason I've been exercising anyway is because we've got the dog. Having to walk the dog and like run it and try to get its energy out has been helping me exercise. I'm 75 times the size of a mollusk. That's about as impressive as your penis measurements. You did it. You did it. All right. So, where does this leave us? We've got video responses we need to do and get into. I've had my bitching about financials. I've talked about that. And I did not mean to click that. I literally hiccuped and clicked with my hiccup. That was not what I intended to do. Oops. Everybody makes mistakes. That's how I was born. Alright. Dum-da-dee-dum. I have a what should I respond to section in my Discord. I should probably go to that. Alright. Here's one. And this is what would you say? I don't remember anything about this particular channel. I think I'm supposed to hate them, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, before we get into that, Chris Brooks says I've just set my dick on fire. Your what? I thought that was just a blank space between your legs. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a short break, and then we're going to get into the video itself. So, that music gets turned off for half a second, and this pops up. And with that, we are back. Hopefully everybody can hear me. If not, then that's probably a blessing. Let's be fair. So how's everybody doing? I see that we lost like 25 people when I went to go to the bathroom. That was neat. Maybe Sir should take some time to plug a sponsor and use it to casually ask Chris to go fuck himself. Or not, it's up to him. Yeah. Anywho. Any comment on Missouri trying to pass a book ban for public libraries? I believe that I just got something about that. Hold up. No, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. This is a completely different article that I'm going to need to read into. Okay. Then the Missouri thing, maybe I got that on Twitter? Let's take a look. Let us take a look on the Twitters. Did I get a thing about the Missouri bill? Because I want to say I did. No? No, I don't think I got something about the Missouri bill. Send me a thing on either Twitter or on Discord about the Missouri bill. Because that's new to me. Or rather, it's something that I've heard of, but I haven't actually looked into yet fully. So let's take a look at that. Before we get into that, though, we actually have an LGBTQ issue to talk about. And it is from a stupid video. Or at least I assume a stupid video. I haven't seen it yet. But the video is called If Conversion Therapy is Bad, Why is Sex Reassignment Good? Okay? Okay. Let's take a look at it now.
One trick of LGBT activists is changing the meaning of words. We see this in the way they celebrate sex reassignment as gender affirmation.
Okay, but gender affirmation is more... It's more accurate, because when we are changing the physical aspects of the body, while we are changing the physical aspects of the body, we still really aren't changing the sex so much. What we are doing, though, is we are shaping the body in a way to where it more resembles the gender that is already present. So, no, this gay people change the meaning of words. That argument, that's the same argument that I have seen from fucking God, Gun, Guts, and Glory when he's decided to go on his bitching tirade about how gay used to mean happy, but now it means gay, and oh, they took the words from me, and I can't say gay anymore because it means gay.
But condemn conversion therapy as sex reassignment.
Wait. Who says that conversion therapy is sex reassignment? What? Who says that? That's weird. Okay.
Let's imagine there's a 6-year-old boy named Johnny, and Johnny experiences gender dysphoria. He says he wants to be a girl. Science shows that in at least 80% of the cases, gender dysphoria eventually goes away on its own.
So, what about the 20% of cases? That's a pretty big number, my dude. Like, let's see. How many cases of dysphoria are there per year? Let's do a map here. Gender dysphoria occurs in 1 in 30,000 males and 1 in 100,000 females. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a mean of 60,000. Okay? Calculator. How many children born per year? Let's see here. There's an average of 250 billion. There's a more than 130 million in a year. Okay. Quick maths. What is 130 million? 1, 2, 3. Divided by 60,000. All right. So every year, that is 2,166 cases of gender dysphoria. That seems... I feel like somewhere I'm doing my math wrong. Hold up. Why does the math seem wrong to me? Something in that doesn't feel right. Give me a second. Why is that what came up? There we go. Let's take a look here and figure out why those numbers look wrong to me. Oh, how many cases of gender dysphoria are there per year? Do. 1 in 300,000 and 1 in 100,000. Okay. Anyway, 2,000. That's 2,000 kids, right? 2,000 kids per year, on average, unless my math is incorrect, which if somebody wants to check my math, maybe it is incorrect. I don't know. Do I just hate miscalculations? I could have miscalculated. I could have. Not 100% certain. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 130,000, 60,000. No, that seems right. Anywho, point being, so 2,100 kids per year deal with gender dysphoria based on this, if my numbers are right. And of that 2,100, that's 21,000. Of that 2,100 times 0.2, that means that we have 420 kids per year that still end up having dysphoria into adulthood, right? And that's 420 kids per year born in a generation. So if we multiply that by 18, then the number we're looking at is closer to 7,560. But anyway, the point is to say that you don't get to say, because in 20% of cases the dysphoria continues, then we don't have to care, because that's a smaller number. It's a smaller number. It's a non-argument. And in fact, it's the same argument that we've used to justify literally every horrible thing in the entire fucking planet, because we've used the argument, hey, it's a minority case. We don't have to deal with minorities in legislation, except we do. This is a bad fucking argument. Because at the end of the day, your minority cases still exist. You still have thousands of kids who are dealing with this every day. And if you weren't dealing with thousands of kids dealing with this every day, well, we'd be living in a different world. But we are living in the world where we have to deal with this. So, the first problem already is them trying to dismiss the 20% of kids that have this. It's like saying that, we don't have to do anything to fix cancer. There are cases where cancer remission happens. Except that's a really dumb argument anyway.
So, if Johnny and his parents do nothing, the odds are that by the time Johnny goes through puberty, his gender dysphoria will go away. However, if a therapist or doctor were to help Johnny get over his gender dysphoria and counsel him in a way that helped him identify as a boy, this would be described as conversion therapy.
That's not conversion therapy. That's not what conversion therapy is. Do 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 do. Let's see here. Literally one of the first things that pops up. Let's see. On do do do. Give me a second to actually do a. Yeah, I heard them as well say that that's conversion therapy. There's several different types of conversion therapy, which provide a service to different target market. There is straight up being gay is terrible, and you should change, and you shouldn't can change that. The market for this product is small but loyal and shrinking very slowly. But there is an insidious type, which I'll call CT Light. The young people dragged to against their will is ongoing. The camps where young lesbian and bi women are correctively raped, then electroshocked and tortured. This is condemned by the vast majority of people. But what about CT Light? This gentle approach to eradicating queer people. Okay. So it's still just. It's now called reintegrative therapy as well, apparently. That's new. For those who are wondering where I'm getting my information from here, it's this website. Outright Action International, human rights for LGBTQ people everywhere. That's not what conversion therapy is. Conversion therapy... Does anybody else hear that? Are you guys okay? I wonder if they're okay. Allow me a second. Why does Yumi look offended? Are you guys okay? Okay. I'm just gonna close that portal to Silent Hill. Anywho, that wasn't cats. That was my partners.
This is the root cause of all your suffering.
Hello. Hi, Terror. How you doing?
I feel like we should also explain we were the ones meowing. Emmett, no. Emmett, no. No pants.
Like shorts.
No pants.
It's covered by Doge. Hey, Yumi.
Then I'm hidden by the microphone of all things.
We're just gonna get Yumi up here. Apparently, it's now a cat stream. And one dog.
One dog. And then just random me.
One random Aaron. Wait, Aaron, I have to scratch your head. If we're scratching all the cats' heads and there's just one random Aaron, you get scratches. Hello. It was supposed to be a different stream, but now they're our cat.
Hey. You quite happy.
Hello.
Okay, you gotta go down.
Microraptor also wants scritches.
You want scritches as well? I can't do that.
My head.
And I'm out.
And you're out.
Goodbye.
Boy.
Boy.
Love you. All of you. You just left the dog in here with me. Oh no. She is not happy about that. Anywho, dealing with all these little problems. Do you hear that? You're a little problem. No, you're not. You're fine. I love you. You're a good kitty. Why is the house so lovely? I don't know. I don't actually know. Hey, girl. Hi there. Alright. Let's see if she stays in the lap. That'd be preferable, but she might not. Okay, obviously I'm going to have to manage this way. So, again, point is, what they're calling conversion therapy, I don't think that's actually conversion therapy. I don't. Oh no, why is that? Why did that get so large?
In several states, it's illegal. In those states, the only thing a therapist is allowed to do with a child who has experienced gender dysphoria is to help them embrace their identity as the opposite sex.
No. Let's not lie. Let's, again, because that's not what conversion therapy was anyways. Conversion therapy is generally dealing with people who are gay and trying to force them to be straight. It's literally a fucking form of torture. But, no. Let's not lie. Let's not lie about what conversion therapy is, and let's not lie about what you're supposed to do if a child is experiencing gender dysphoria. The proper thing to happen when a child is experiencing gender dysphoria is they may see a therapist who will attempt to let them live a few lived experiences as the gender they were not assigned at birth, to see if they actually do fit better as that gender, as opposed to as the gender they were assigned at birth. Doctors don't force children to be trans. What kind of dumb fucking person thinks this? Probably ignorant, more likely. Okay, Yumi, you're gonna end up unplugging my microphone. I love you, but no. Like, especially here in the US, if you're trans, actually getting the help you need, especially if you're a kid, is nearly impossible. So trying to argue that there's some, like, giant issue here is weird to me. Also, you're not gonna like that to get that out of your nose, hun. Okay. Yumi wanted to join in too. It's true. Yumi did want to join in. That's because Yumi's cute. Shay also points out that a lot of resources in red states are dwindling fast. Yep. Hi, Yumster. I hope you're enjoying being in the lap.
If they don't, they would be professionally punished or even lose their license.
Yes, it is almost as if... Okay, so, again, what actually happens is not what they're talking about. They don't just say, hey, you're a doctor, you have to tell this kid that they are, in fact, trans. No, their actual methods are going to be attempts to figure out if you are trans or if you are just temporarily suffering dysphoria. Because, again, in most cases, the dysphoria is temporary. When you're a kid. When you're an adult, no, not so much. If it lasts into adulthood, then yeah, you need to get help. You need to go seek confirmation of some kind. Something to help you. Find a therapist who's not an asshole. But when you're a kid, they don't give you reassignment surgery as a fucking child. The few marginal cases where that's happened have proven to be disastrous. Much like there are many thousands of surgeries that we have tested and found them to be disastrous.
However, if a therapist assures Johnny that he is really a girl, gives him puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and then helps him get surgery that removes healthy body parts and permanently sterilizes him, this is referred to as gender affirmation. That is legal.
Okay, so I love the scare tactic here. Can we count the different pieces of propaganda that were used here? Removing otherwise healthy body parts. Yeah, that happens in all kinds of surgeries. Except let's talk about how if a body part is being removed, let's talk about what's not healthy. Okay? Let's talk about the penis, for example. Were I a trans female, and let's assume that I needed to go get surgery to remove my under area and convert it. Do you know what's not healthy? Gender dysphoria. Do you know it's not a healthy thing to do? Simply suffer through it. Do you know what one of the things that would be causing that dysphoria is? My genitalia. So when you simply say that it's a healthy body part, there's no need to remove it. But it's a body part that is causing disastrous effects up here. So can we really call it a healthy body part? It's healthy in the sense that it functions. It's healthy in the sense that it works. But the side effects of it being there are fairly massive. That's not the same thing as a healthy body part. Also, Shallow Sai is right. This is an argument against circumcision as well. Let's talk about the other things they pointed out happen there.
This is what removes health. If a therapist assures Johnny that he is really a girl, gives him puberty blockers,
So, puberty blockers. What is the purpose of a puberty blocker? A puberty blocker is there so that you do not experience puberty before you're able to actually get surgery. So, let's say that I, as a kid, I start feeling like I'm a girl. I'm obviously cis male, but let's say that I was feeling like I was a girl. And as I grew up, I realized that this feeling is getting worse and worse. I don't feel right in my body. I do not feel proper. Something is wrong. Something is off. So I talked to my therapist. My therapist says, okay, well, you're going to hit puberty in a couple years. So what we're going to do is around that time, we're going to put you on puberty blockers. And it's going to buy you about 5 years of time before you actually hit puberty. Hello? Now, what does puberty do? Puberty solidifies many aspects of your body, many of them sex-dependent. That's why we even have the adage for guys, it's when your balls drop. For girls, it's when the boobs grow. Stuff like that. So, when you take puberty blockers, you prevent that from happening earlier. You basically do the same things that would happen to your body naturally if you had late-stage puberty. Now, there are side effects to that. Yes, somebody might be sterile. That's a problem. That is a risk that they have to decide if they want to go through. But let me make something very clear. Very fucking clear. When we're dealing with sterilization and stuff like this as a potential side effect to something like this. I value the mental well-being of the person here who is alive right now more than any potential children. I don't give a fuck about potential children. I actually care less about them than people who already exist right now. I know, weird thought. Strange, awkward thought. Growlith, can you tell I'm upset? Do you need to come over here? Come on, girl. Come on. No? Okay. Yeah. Come here. You're coming in the lap now. You get a boob. Everybody gets a boobs. There's no imperative that every child should be able to bear fruit later. The idea that we have to push our bloodline forward is honestly a really weird one. Oh no, it's Shathid. Hello. Nick T says, not everyone cares about fertility, but should you really be able to make that decision when you're too young and even drink alcohol legally? Okay, so the drink alcohol legally thing, nobody gives a fuck about. Here's why. That's an arbitrary label. When you can drink, when you can go to war, when you can smoke, when you can do all that's an arbitrary measuring stick. I give no fuck about arbitrary measuring sticks. I actually give less than a fuck about arbitrary measuring sticks. No, the proper way to really tackle this is, which do we value more? The potential mental health of the person experiencing dysphoria, or their ability to bear children later in life? Bearing in mind that there are other options for having a child later in life. There is adoption, there is surrogate parenthood, there is in vitro. There are options for people to have kids. Whereas, let's say that you're male. There are aspects of your body that when you... This happens for females as well, but to a lesser extent. There are aspects of your body that solidify during the puberty process. And during this puberty process... During the puberty process, when these things solidify, if your dysphoria lasts into adulthood and you decide that you do need gender affirmation surgery as an adult, what we end up doing is we have to now reverse everything. We have more than quadruple the amount of work required, and even then, it might not do everything we need it to do. You might still experience dysphoria because we aren't able to get your body into a functional state without several surgeries. Things that might not even be necessary if we can use puberty blockers early so that these aspects of your body do not push forward. Now, let's think about the world we construct when we say, fuck all this as a child, fuck dealing with any of this. Now remember, we're just talking about puberty blockers. We're not talking about doing reconstructive surgery on a child. I know that they're showing that in the cartoon. That's not what generally happens. Generally, that surgery doesn't happen until you are a legal adult and you are able to actually make decisions. Puberty blockers buy time. That's all they're for. You're not making a decision. The puberty blockers are there so that you can make a decision later. And Nikki T, it seems like you actually don't understand the conversation going on. The puberty blockers are there so that you will be able to buy time. It may turn out that you don't actually have the ability to have kids down the line anyway. You know what's a way that you can sterilize yourself as an adult? Or even as a kid? Wearing fucking tighty-whities. I'm sorry, the fertilization of children is something that I don't really deal with. I don't care if a child is fertile. And if you are so concerned about whether or not a child is fertile, I'm maybe concerned about you. Just a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. So, again, and the actual irreversible decisions are not made until adulthood. The puberty blockers are there just to buy time to determine whether or not they want to do this. And then a therapist will be with you along the way. You don't just take the blockers and sit at home and go, Mommy, I still feel like a girl. A therapist will then go, hey, let's dress you in hypermasculine clothes and have you live a day as a guy. Now let's dress you in hyperfeminine clothes and have you live a day as a girl. A therapist will guide you through lived experiences to determine whether or not these lived experiences coincide with your brain, coincide with how you actually feel, what you need. When you create a world where you have to do these things into adulthood, one, you cause adults to suffer more because there are some adults that will never get rid of their dysphoria without tons of reconstructive surgery. And that reconstructive surgery, regardless of how important it is for this person's mental health, there are people who've committed suicide over this, over not being able to have their affirmation. When you construct a world where these people cannot afford to do the thing that's required for their mental health because you wanted to put a blocker on them being able to do something about it as a kid, them being able to catch it early, you've constructed a world that we have to get to the anti-capitalist thing. We have to do it. It keeps fucking happening. we've constructed a world where if you are poor, you have to suffer. Again, it is another world against the poor. Let's also ignore the fact that major surgeries all come with huge risks. Huge, huge risks. That can be minimalized in most cases. But whenever you cut somebody open, like if you botch a surgery, for example, that can contribute to dysphoria. I see that T-Shred just made that point in the chat as well. So why not create a world in which we support these people instead of one where we say, hey, life sucks, step on your nuts? Remember, puberty blockers are not antihistamines.
Sex hormones, and then helps him get surgery that removes healthy body parts and permanently sterilizes him. This is referred to as gender affirmation. That is legal in all 50 states. But isn't it?
This is also bearing in mind, or this is also ignoring the fact that there are several people. Nixie says, I appreciate that you're at least somewhat kind enough to talking to or about religious people, though I think Telltale is best in this regard. That's fair. Telltale has more patience than I can ever have. Also, I need to get the puppy out. One sec. Puppy. Okay. Okay, she's starting to eat my soundproofing. Okay, anyways. So my biggest point, why would we construct a world where everything is worse for poor people? I don't get it. Most of the people in the world are poor. Why would you create a world where they have to suffer more? And for two, we're ignoring the fact that there are also a large portion of trans people who do not get bottom surgery. You're speaking of the surgery process as if bottom surgery happens all the time, but that's not the case. It's just not. Fucking one of the most famous trans people in the fucking world right now, Blair White, has not had bottom surgery. This is where the whole mouthfeel joke comes from. Jesus Christ.
Interesting, the words they use to describe these situations. Helping a child identify with the body they were born with is called conversion therapy.
Where is their source on that, by the way? I don't think they actually have a source for that. No, I know that Contra did the mouthfeel joke. I'm not saying the mouthfeel joke came from Blair White. I'm saying that the mouthfeel joke came from the fact that there are trans people who are trans female and still have penises. That's what I'm saying. So whenever somebody says that that this type of gender affirmation surgery always includes bottom surgery, I'm saying that's wrong. That's not the case.
Giving a child artificial hormones and plastic surgery is called gender affirmation.
Artificial hormones. I wonder if they understand how we harvested those hormones. I wonder if they get that. Also, let's point out that generally speaking, you don't have surgeries on kids that deal with this. If you're going to argue about surgery being bad for kids, then I should have died of appendicitis as a child. Because I had surgery. Said Cirrus, Chris Brooks is trolling. Okay. Chris Brooks says, I used to be a man and celebrated my first period last week. It's weird that you would LARP Yaniv like that. That's strange.
If that seems backwards to you, that's because it is. If you like this video, let us know below. If you want to make sure you see the next one, hit subscribe.
Okay. So, I have a theory as to what type of audience this actually is catered towards. Growlith is so upset. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what kind of audience they cater towards. Holy shit. Hold on. Growlithe. Growlithe, what are you barking at? It's just a cat. It's a cat that you've literally known her, except for the first 2 weeks you were born. You've known her every minute you've been alive.
2 weeks? You mean 8 weeks? You mean 8, right?
Sure, 8 weeks. Yeah, a time in her life she probably doesn't even remember. Functionally, she's known that cat every waking minutes. And yet still scream at it. It's just Baba.
I mean, to be fair, babies know their mother for every minute in their life, and they still scream at their mothers.
Okay. The food isn't in here, baby. The food is out there. Come here. Come here. Yell with me. Yell with me. So, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the type of people that this video caters towards. I'm like 90% certain I know. We scroll down here. Oh wow, it actually suggests me as the next video on autoplay. Why the fuck would anybody watch this person? From David Cook, 4 days ago. The truth is that conversion therapy merely seeks to convert people's twisted and self-destructive thinking about their gender and sexuality. It attempts to influence hearts and minds so that people will come to terms with and accept reality as God designed it, which is, in the end, in people's best interests. Oh... I think I know who this is catered towards. I think I know the target audience. It's those gosh darned old Christian conservatives again with their right-wing propagandas. Those diddly darn doofuses. Those dingbats. Hey there. You doing okay here? Have you decided this is where you're going to be? Is this where you're happy? I hope so. I hope so. Do you have a... You do, don't you? Give me 1 second. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I thought it was. I thought that was a flea in your fur. I almost panicked. That's not a flea. That's a little clump of hair. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. She's a good kitty. I love her. Okay. Let's look at the next comment. Let's see what kind of person we're dealing with here. What kind of peoples they cater to. You've done an excellent job explaining what many of us have been saying for years. Oh, wow. Do you like that voice? Is that why you're here? Hello. I think this is Yumi telling me to shut up. Hey, Yum. We've been saying this about the contrast between alleged conversion therapy and sex reassignment therapy. Thank you for equipping believers with such valuable tools. Oh. 2 comments in, and it's just Christian conservatives. That's the goal. We're gonna tilt that down a little bit, frame myself a little better. It's just Christian conservatives again. That's all it is. That's okay. What's next? I have never heard conversion therapy used in the way this video does. The conversion therapy I've read about that activists have worked to ban in many states is about therapists attempting to change sexual affection preferences, trying to convert them from homosexual to heterosexual. In many cases, it's actually torturous to an individual, and it had been shown to have many harmful consequences for the subjects, who are usually forced or pressured into it by their parents. So in my belief, this video is mistaken on what conversion therapy is. Thank you! Thank you for having an actual brain. You did it. This person knows what they're talking about. Because the way they're using conversion therapy here is not the way I've heard it talked about ever. It's weird. We get this argument from Christian conservatives like this a lot, where they'll say that gay people just try to change the meaning of words, and that's what matters. That's the problem. And yet, this video began by literally changing the meaning of words. Is this celebratory headbutts? Celebratory head boops? Head boops. Do you want head boop? Head boop. Head boop. You're a coot head boop. You're adorbs. I love you. Okay. Let's take a look at more comments. Let's see here. It's really hard to watch our culture sink to new lows every year at unprecedented speed, and seeing all the hurt that causes, and they don't even acknowledge that it's from their own decisions. Oh, wow. Dude. Is this the Western values are being taken away? They're attacking my Western values. I must clutch my pearls harder. Hello. You keep distracting me, but it's fine. I have no problem with that. Yumi's being good, kitty. Ugh. What else do we have here? Okay, again, I don't even have to scroll down very far for this shit. Excellent, perfectly communicating the truth in this perverse battle. This is why our ministry, firststone.org, has organized God's Voice Conference. What? That's bad grammar. Especially this year, 2020, God's Voice Conference tagline, a biblical response to LGBTQ plus tyranny. Because LGBTQ individuals are politically motivated operatives are bringing oppression and demands for conformity and blocking the medical scientific data through tyrannical censorship. God damn it. Thank you for making this video. Check out the amazing speaker lineups for God's Voice Conference at godsvoice.us. Oh, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this silliness. Let's take a look. God's Voice, promoting transformational truth. Oh, there's a certain type of transformation that they're not really into. Oh, God. April 17th to 18th in 2020, the God's Voice Conference. Where is this? Fairview Baptist Church? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Fairview Baptist Church. Okay. I thought I was gonna find it in here. I'm surprised. So for those who don't know, there's a website called nifbcult.com. And it has a catalog of all of the NIFB churches. I thought I was 100% certain that I was going to find Fairview on here. But no, it's not. It's actually not on here. Let's see here. Where are you? Oklahoma City. I'm curious now. It's 12 hours away. That would take some time. Does Fairview have a website? Maybe. I don't know. Nobody's speaking that I actually know of, though. Let's see. Paul Blair, Joe Dallas. Dr. Quentin is the owner of a private pediatric and docent practice in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, you mean Oh no. Could I actually have a fucking chat with this dude? Okay. 4 minutes ago, Jack has donated $100. Van Hart, you know what people... Oh, no. Jack, why have you done this? I can't believe you've done this. What is that screaming in the background? Would you all like to come here? That said, I need at least Aaron. I have a thing that is important. I have to bring you to look at the screen because I need you to do some research for me. You can see the screen right here?
What do I need to research?
But why? Is it just so you can have people scream? Okay. So, Aaron, do you see this Dr. Quentin Van Meter, MD person?
Yeah.
He has a practice in Atlanta, Georgia. Could you do some research on him for me? Because he's going to be speaking at this God's Voice anti-LGBTQ conference.
Okay.
If you find anything interesting on him, let me know.
But hear me out.
Yeah?
You do this, right? And, I find out where the practice is.
Yeah. Oh, I know where it is. I have it pulled up.
Oh, no. Find out everything I can about him, and I get Starbucks for it. Make this happen.
Oh my god. Okay. Tell you what.
Make it happen through the chat.
I have an idea. What are they planning on doing for date day?
What are y'all planning on doing for date day?
Yeah, what are you guys doing for date day?
We just thought that screaming would be a good idea to initiate dates, so we scream. Yeah.
Okay. Because if you guys are planning on going out for date stuff, then if you guys wanted to go out and do one thing, and then me and Eric go out and do one thing.
Like one right after the other, or go out together and then split off.
Yeah. Like, split off and do stuff. If you guys want to do that, if that'd be okay with you.
You have to get off stream and come here and talk. Yeah.
But I'm being forced to sing now.
What?
Look at the last fucking donation!
We can't, honey.
Okay, you tell me what it says.
He's gotta sing, girl, that is hard.
Okay, so the question is, am I going to get a chorus in here?
Wait 1 minute, I need pants.
You need pants?
I have to get up out of my comfy chair.
Okay, so we're gonna do a thing here. We're gonna... Allow me 1 moment. I'll check fan art in just a second, Bumblin' Bee. Unless it's something that's so pertinent that because it involves my suffer.
She got the hiccups.
How much suffering?
She's got the hiccups, guys.
Now I have pants.
You have pants?
Guys, she's got the hiccups.
Oh, baby.
Oh, poor baby.
Oh, you want to spread between mothers?
Oh my god, that is adorable. That is fucking perfection. Sorry, you guys have to see fan art. You have to. Let me pull it up. Here.
Have gone away. Hello.
It's perfect.
Hello. Oh, good girl.
Okay. God, that balding is annoying.
I mean, if you want some spare hair, I shave some off like almost every week. Sure, I could give you some spare.
All mine went into a vacuum
She
thingy.
just lays.
Bionic Dance says, tell everybody that I said Burger Glishlish Globble. Apparently her religion is the Globdol Gobdulab. Hello, pupper.
Bite him.
Why do you bite?
Bite him.
Bite.
Ah! Ah!
There we go. We have to do it like this. Everybody's in.
Oh god, I
Nice
look
and
like
close.
crap.
Oh god.
So do I.
I perpetually look like crap.
Yeah, but people expected.
Oh, thanks. That makes it so much better.
You don't hide who you are.
Okay.
Come on, let's put on your CD.
We can't hear it. It's going through your headphones, honey.
I'm gonna fix that. Give me a
Aaron,
second.
Are you okay? I'm bouncing.
Really? Come on, you've heard it.
Okay.
Good girl.
Oh, no. Here you go.
You come on.
Let me go. These. No, everything is already bumped up as high as it's going to go there. Why is it so low?
Try the TV.
I already did that. No, it's... I'm gonna do this. There we go. That's better. Okay. If everybody's gonna suffer, we might as well. Are we ready? Because apparently I've got to do this.
Look at her little feet.
Thanks to Jack.
Sarah's look at her little feet.
I see. She's an adorable pupper.
We have disarmed her.
Hey,
She is
buddy.
Disarmed. She is
Are we?
disarmed.
We're going for a bike ride. My nose.
Bicycle kick.
Beans.
Can I have puppy kisses?
Ah.
Hey, Grandma.
All right, guys. Jack apparently made my life horrible. So let's do this. Also, Bionic Dance says I especially like the ones that aren't Cirrus. Congratulations, all three of you aren't Cirrus.
Yay! I'm glad about that.
So am I. I'm glad you're not
Otherwise,
me.
that'd be really, really fucking narcissistic on your part.
That means that sex would be masturbation, yes.
Ew.
I'll pass, thank.
Hold on.
Goodbye, dog.
Itch her now.
Itch her.
Itch her now. Get the bicycle. There we go.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Scratchy pupper. Microraptor says, I don't know the names of the people who aren't Cirrus. This is Emmett. She is the one responsible for artwork on the channel. This is Raz, if she can pop into frame. There we go. This is the partner that I have been with for over 3 years.
I'm also his channel manager. I'm the manager of all three of these bitches.
She's the one that makes sure that I'm actually on task. And then this is Aaron, who is our resident researcher and writer.
Yeah,
You don't write for my channel.
I
But
don't
you do,
write for
but
your
you do
channel,
help
but I do all
research.
the research.
You don't do any writing for your channel.
I know. I don't
there's
use
no
the script.
scripting.
I don't use the script.
I don't have pockets either.
Hello, Yumi.
I have a skirt that has
Oh God, no! Keep her away from the cord. The cord unplugs really easy. Hello, Yumi.
Oh, honey. It's okay. My baby.
Hi, baby. She
Ah.
looks at me like, help me.
Hello, Yumi.
And this is why the meowing started.
You love Emmett shit? Thank you. I stole this from an ex who told me I couldn't like Star Wars.
We don't call that an ex. We call that a misogynist.
I called it a mistake.
Mistakenist. Okay. Okay, then tell you what. We might get back to more stream later today.
Hands Hanzo, Raz is not Nox. Emmett is Nox.
Hi, I am
Yeah.
Raz.
I
Emmett-
am Emmett. I am Gaelic Knox. That is
I'm
Aaron.
Aaron,
Aaron's chair. And that is Raz, also known as Panda.
also known as Creepy Eevees.
Yeah.
Hello, girl. So, my suggestion is we close out this stream with the song, and then I will get back to do more stream later today. Does that work
Jack
out?
says your delaying tactic doesn't fool me.
The delaying tactic doesn't fool. Look, I'm not saying that we haven't hit the donation goal, and that's the reason why I'm delaying things. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Love you, Toby.
Okay. Are we ready for this?
Yes.
Judging you.
Judging me?
Judging. Where's
Why?
the dog? I fucking felt her run.
She ran that way. It was so faint.
Raz, get your butt in frame.
I can't. I got
Come.
I got two thick bitches to
Come
contend.
here.
Why are you backing out of frame, you fucking dickbag? Why would you walk forward?
I got pushed forward.
Get in the frame, Nebby.
Yeah, get in the
Get in the
fucking
bag.
frame.
This is a
Get in the bag, Debbie.
That's my
this is a 4-way, but it's a song. Are you okay?
We're just chaos.
This is my. I hope this doesn't go like last time.
God damn it!
Wait, what happened last time?
Aaron.
Is your that?
Why? That's my deaf ear, buddy.
Oh my god! That's what she
There
means
you
when she
go.
says it. She hopes it
Oh.
doesn't go like the last 4-way.
Oh. I'm so confused.
This just in: Aaron forgets literally everything.
You should remove that fan art, or move it so that way your face doesn't go in it.
Hold on. There we go. That's better.
Now the stream is like 10 times better.
Yeah, it's not untrue.
Christ.
Okay.
Say anything.
Okay.
Innocent.
All right. Pull the chat over here so that we can get their reactions to mine and everybody else's horrible singing, though everybody else's singing is better than mine. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I know I'm not that tall. I know I'm not that smart. But let me drive my van into your heart. Let me drive my van into your heart. I know I'm not that rich. I'm trying to get my start. So let me drive my van into your heart. Let me drive my van into your heart. And if we look at a place, well, baby, that's okay. I'll drive us into outer space where we can hear what people say.
We
I
forgot
know
the
I don't have a
lyrics.
plan. I'm working on that part. At least I've
There
got
are
a
no
plan.
subtitles.
So let me drive my van into your heart. 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 Let me drive my van into your heart.
It's
We reach peak Paul and Morgan cringe.
oh my god.
It's the Raz and Aaron and Emmett show. No, we went over this. It's the Raz and Aaron, the Raz and Aaron Emmett. Can you shut up for
So-
like 2 seconds?
You know, there's a part of me that's sad that I'm not included in those lyrics, and there's a part of me,
There is!
and
You're
there's a part of me that
included!
feels so good that I'm not in them.
You're included. It's supposed to go the Raz and Aaron, the Raz and Aaron Emmett show.
I wasn't aware of the attitude too because like we were screaming it's the Raz and Aaron, the Raz and Aaron trying to like
Last night, but the original one that Emmett came up with had all 4 of us.
Sarah's and Emmett, Sarah's Aaron show.
Show.
why am
That
I at
one.
the back?
Because yours is
Because
the
you're trying to-
fastest to say.
We're trying to escape.
Oh my god. Okay, that said, I will be back on later tonight. For now, we're going to go figure out what we are doing for date things. Specifically, these two doing for date things, and then moving from there, potentially. So,
Rape.
I didn't consent to that.
Fuck.
Nobody consented to that humor. Though I guess that's kind of the point. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed.